What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. And today, I'm going to be reviewing Week 2 and going through some games in Week 3 and giving you guys some predictions. So first, let's just go ahead and get Week 2 in. The ACC and the Big 12 kicked off play this week. Let's take a look at some scores. I believe I have 7 games for you guys. So here's the first one. It was a Thursday game. The UAB Blazers and Miami Hurricanes went off, and it was De'Aaron King's Hurricanes debut. The Hurricanes won 31-14 off a great effort from De'Aaron King, Cameron Harris, and Brevin Jordan, each combining for a total of 4 touchdowns. De'Aaron King, 16 of 24, 144 yards with a passing touchdown, 12 carries, 83 yards, and a rushing touchdown as well. Cameron Harris was all over the field, had 100-plus rushing yards with 2 touchdowns, and Brevin Jordan, a touchdown catch as well. Now, Miami is ranked 17th in the latest AP poll as they pick up their first win of the season. UAB did not play bad, especially when you look at Myron Mitchell. He played absolutely outstanding. They kind of played 2-ish quarterbacks here at UAB, Tyler Johnson being, of course, the most prominent quarterback with 150 yards and a touchdown. But they kind of split some quarterback position there. I think UAB's just got to get more stuff solidified, and I think they could be a pretty solid team. But they pick up the loss, and Miami wins their first game of the season. How about this game? I did say this was going to be game of the week. It was going to be game of the week for me. This one was an upset in and out. Iowa State, who was dropped out of the AP poll, lost to the Louisiana Raging Cajuns at home. Its final score was 31-14. Louisiana, now ranked 19th in the latest AP poll. Levi Lewis played well, had a touchdown pass to Peter LeBlanc for 78 yards, and Peter LeBlanc 82 total yards. When you take a look at the Iowa State side of things, Brock Purdy, you could just feel he was off his mojo in this game. Just did not play like we're used to seeing Brock Purdy play. Didn't have a touchdown pass, had a pick, just didn't play well. Breece Hall had a good individual start to the season, got a touchdown in there, but again, just the air attack couldn't get going for Iowa State. The team actually outgained the Raging Cajuns 303 to 272 yards, but the difference comes on special teams. Louisiana had a punt return touchdown and a kick return touchdown, and after that punt return touchdown, with about 10 minutes left, I said, yep, this game is over, and Louisiana pulls off the upset. We go in, and this is another upset. Arkansas State beats Kansas State 35-31. When you look at the Kansas State side of things, it's not that they played bad except in one area. Skylar Thompson played pretty well. The rushing attack was there for Kansas State, and they passed the ball around to pretty much everyone. But where Kansas State lost this game was field goal kicking. Blake Lynch went 1 of 3 on field goals, and 4 for 4 with the extra points, but 1 for 3 on field goals is just not going to win you a game. I don't care how good the rest of your team plays. If the other team is competing, if you go 1 for 3 on field goals, I'm sorry, you're not going to win the game. And that is exactly what happened here as Arkansas State, again, played Logan Bonner and Lane Hatcher. Those their combined stats, their team stats, they outgained Kansas State by over 100 yards. But let's talk about Jonathan Adams really quick. Holy cow. 8 catches, 98 yards, 3 touchdowns. If you could have seen some of the catches this kid was making, Jonathan Adams is going to be a steal. I don't care. No matter where he goes in the draft, he's going to be a steal come April. And, I can't say enough good things about him. He was making some of the most ridiculous catches I've ever seen by a wide receiver that I'd never even heard of. So Jonathan Adams definitely gets credit in a way. Arkansas State won this game. They pull off the upset. Duke and Notre Dame battled out as Notre Dame opened up their season with a win. Now 7th in the AP poll, 27-13. Ian Book played pretty well. I feel like he could have definitely played better, but still played pretty well. How about Kyron Williams? Kyron Williams, 19 carries, 112 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns and had 2 catches for 93 yards. So Kyron Williams, definitely one of the bigger faces in the Notre Dame offense in this game. It does not seem like Notre Dame has yet replaced Chase Claypool or Cole Kmet, but I do think that they will get there. over the course of this weird season. But Notre Dame opens up play with a nice win. Chase Bryce didn't play bad, but they just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. And Chase Bryce had a rushing touchdown. That was Duke's only touchdown in this game. Wide receivers play well, except Jelon Calhoun lost a fumble that pretty much gave momentum straight away to Notre Dame. And Duke comes up short. Georgia Tech and Florida State played in a pretty good game. I think most would consider this to be game of the week. And Georgia Tech wins it. Georgia Tech pulls off, again, an upset. There is chaos already in college football. James Blackman played okay-ish, just shy of 200 yards with a touchdown, but his turnover game is where it needs work. He threw a pick and lost 2 fumbles, which that absolutely has to change. Jeff Sims, on the other hand, for Georgia Tech, played pretty well, 24 of 35 for 277, touchdown, 2 picks, which Asante Samuel picked both of those off, but still played pretty darn well for the way this game went after weather delay after weather delay. Jordan Mason played pretty well as well. Didn't have the most yards in the world, but still was impactful in this game. Malachi Carter was also impactful. And Georgia Tech comes out on top, 16-13 against the Seminoles. And I did not expect Mike Norvell to come in and change the culture right away at Florida State, but you got to think that this might be a warning sign that things might not go as planned for the Florida State Seminoles. Western Kentucky and Louisville played in a closer game than I expected, but Louisville now ranked 18th in the AP poll, and they get their first win of the season. When you look at the Western Kentucky side, all around it just doesn't look like they played a good statistical game. Terrell Pigrome, their quarterback, only went 10 of 23 for 129 yards, did throw for a touchdown. But when you look at only 3 receivers caught a pass in this game for Western Kentucky. They really showed that they're going to run the ball more than they're going to pass the ball this year. And Western Kentucky, and even most of the carries was by Terrell Pigrome himself, 17 carries for 63 yards. He couldn't punch it into the end zone. But Western Kentucky's got to get stuff figured out if they want to turn this season around, because right now it's not looking like they're going to do a whole lot, especially if only 3 receivers catch a pass when you're usually a pretty balanced team. But when you look at Louisville side, they played great. Mikhail Cunningham, 19-24 for 343 and 3 touchdowns. Javion Hawkins had an impact, 71 yards for a touchdown. And when you combine the stats from Des Fitzpatrick, Braden Smith, and Tutu Atwell, 15 catches for 298 yards and a touchdown. Both Des Fitzpatrick and Braden Smith each had 6 catches for, I believe, 110 yards. And there you go. Louisville opens up play with a win. And the final game I'm going to preview for you guys, the Clemson Tigers opened up their season with an expected win. It was a 24-point win, 37-13 against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Wake Forest played like 3 quarterbacks in this game. I thought Sam Hartman was going to be the number 1. It turns out they don't really know who the number 1 is yet. It's definitely going to either be Sam Hartman or Michael Kern. We just have to find out which one. Taylor Morin was great in this game. Only 5 receivers caught a pass for Wake Forest. When you look on the other side, though, Trevor Lawrence, again, played great. Travis Etienne played great. And 13 receivers had at least 1 catch in this game for Clemson. So Clemson definitely trying to find guys besides Justin Ross, who, of course, is going to be out of the season with an injury, and Joseph Ngata to catch passes. And it worked out pretty well as Clemson opens up this season with a win. There's your Week 2 preview. Let's get into some Week 3 predictions. Now, I do have to say there are a couple games that are not on this list, one of which being Virginia Tech and Virginia. That just got postponed over COVID, as did Army and BYU. That game is also not going to be on here. And Memphis and Houston also got postponed, but Houston's going to play another opponent, and that opponent is going to be the Baylor Bears. So both of these teams opening up their season this week after Baylor's game last week was postponed due to concerns over COVID. That game was going to be against Louisiana Tech, but Baylor is now going to play an in-state team, and it's going to be Houston. Baylor, last time I looked, is favored by 4, over and under being 62.5. This, I feel like, is going to be a very, very close game. I definitely feel like this game could have, quote-unquote, upset factors, but I have to give this one to Baylor. When you just look at who's returning, on each side. Yes, Baylor is losing a lot, but the important thing is that their quarterback, Charlie Brewer, is coming back, and he was so impactful for them last year. I just feel like he's going to be the difference maker in this game. That's why Baylor, in my opinion, is going to win. While I do feel like Houston has a lot of great talent, I don't feel like that they're going to be able to match at the quarterback position what Charlie Brewer is going to be able to do for Baylor. I predict Baylor to win this game. All right, moving on to what I think is going to be an underrated game this week. It's the Navy Midshipmen at Tulane Green Wave. And I say that this is going to be underrated because when you just look at how Navy played in week 1 against BYU, that abysmal 55-3 loss does not look good at all. But I still feel like Navy can turn it around. Yes, they're definitely going to miss Malcolm Perry, and they're not going to be as good as they have been in previous seasons. But Navy is still not a terrible team. It just BYU might be better than we all expect this year. Tulane is favored by 7. As they won their first game. And yes, I do have Tulane winning this game. I don't feel like Navy proved enough to me in their first game to get past Tulane, which this is a pretty underrated roster. You have Amari Jones back there at running back who was a highly recruited player, hasn't gotten a whole lot of time on the field, didn't get a lot of time in the first game, but I feel like if he plays more than he did in his first game, definitely could have an impact here for the Tulane Green Wave. I do feel like this one might be a little closer than 7 points, but I do think that Tulane is going to come out with a win in this one. All right, the UCF just the UCF Knights are opening their season this week as they are the 14th ranked team in the nation. They're going to be facing the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and this could be a pretty interesting game. Georgia Tech, I feel like, definitely has potential this year to maybe make some games close that they're not really supposed to be made close, if you catch what I'm saying. Georgia Tech is probably going to play teams really, really tough this year that they normally wouldn't have played tough in prior years. UCF favored by 7.5 points as they go on the road to play Georgia Tech. I still got to give the win to UCF. Definitely the more talented roster. And while they haven't played a game, when you just look at the overall roster, UCF definitely has the more talented roster, and I just got to say, as a side note, what progress Mackenzie Milton is making to get back on the football field, and while he won't play in this game, they hope that he can play sometime this season, which just was not even a thought when he went down with that horrible injury that he had. But UCF, I give the win to open their season against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. All right, this could be a pretty interesting one as well. The App State Mountaineers are going to face the Marshall Thundering Herd. This could be a good game. App State, last time I looked, favored by 4.5 as they are the 23rd ranked team in the nation. Both of these teams opened up with a win. Marshall with a convincing blowout win against Eastern Kentucky, and App State with a closer win than it maybe should have been against Charlotte, but still came out with the convincing win there in that one. This is just going to be an interesting game. App State definitely showed that they have not taken a step back from where they have been in years past, but Marshall showed that, hey, maybe they're a team that you got to watch out for this year. Definitely don't know as much about these two teams as I do others, but what I do know is that App State has the more talented roster. After looking at these rosters and looking at game footage and just recalling what I remember from watching these teams play in the past couple weeks, App State definitely should come away with a win here in this one. And where I feel like it's going to make the difference is on the defensive side of the ball. Both these teams have pretty electric offenses for the talent that they have. It's definitely going to come down to which defense steps up, which defense plays better. And to me, I feel like App State has the defense with more potential. There you go. So App State going to get another win this season. And the final game I will be previewing for you guys, which is game of the week for pretty much everyone around the nation, is the 17th ranked Miami Hurricanes facing the 18th ranked Louisville Cardinals. This is going to be a great game to watch. When you look, we'll take a look. Louisville favored by 2.5 points. After I just looked at both of these two games, both teams opened up with a win. Someone's going to have to come away with a loss here, and it was really hard to pick this game. I'll show you my prediction in a little bit, but when you look, you got to think Louisville has the more talented roster that we know right now, right? But when you look at Miami's recruiting over the past, they have players that definitely have a lot of potential. have potential to come out and surprise all of us. This game is just really hard to pick for me. Louisville, I think there's edges you could give to teams both ways. So I think you could give the edge in offensive play to Louisville. You could give the edge in overall defensive play to Miami. Then when you come down to individual positions, it's close. This definitely is going to be a quarterback battle between Mikhail Cunningham and Derek King. Two very different style of quarterbacks. Mikhail Cunningham, very much passing quarterback, while Derek King is more of a dual threat guy. So we'll have to see which style prevails. And to me, I think that Louisville is going to prevail in this game. And while I'm not taking away anything from Miami here, I just think that Louisville, to me, is the more talented team. And I feel like they have more potential and have more momentum coming into this game than Miami. While Western Kentucky didn't play the best of games, they still racked up 21 points. Louisville just had an absolutely phenomenal game, definitely could have scored more than 35 points. And while Miami played a tougher opponent in UAB and beat them by more points, I feel like Louisville is going to come into this game and be able to beat the Miami Hurricanes. So there is your Week 3 preview. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you're brand new to the channel or you just enjoy my content. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss an upload, and you can join Tailgate Nation. And if you haven't done so already, please do leave a comment down below. Give me your thoughts on Week 2 and give me your thoughts on the upcoming Week 3. And as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you lovely people next week. Goodbye.